Wait, can we start over? Can we start over? Okay, now.
Now we
hi.
need to talk.
we're up.
Hey, everybody.
Yes. Hi.
Hello. Hey, listen. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live on the KSL Sports Facebook page. Due to legal reasons, we're sitting really close together, and that's part of
And sharing microphones.
So we're glad you're joining us because we're going to be watching the college football playoff rankings roll out, and we will likely have a lot of the same reactions that you will have. So as we started to go through, we walked into the studio. Tom started to get teary-eyed, and what was your biggest concern about the rollout of today's rankings as we watch them, and everybody is streaming at home to see what they're going to be?
If Oklahoma jumps Utah, I will flip something on this table, and I guarantee you something will break.
I'm so excited for it. But I'll just tell you right now, in terms of predictions, Scott, if we want to play the prediction game, I've told you this all year long. You've got to be 30% better than the rest of the country if you're Utah because you've got to make a splash somehow. And Utah will move up to number 5 today. Just be excited about that. The problem is that it's next week is going to be the real problem. I think they're going to move up to 5, and all of the reasons are there to be able to kick Utah out of the 4th spot.
Yeah, but you don't know what's going to happen with Georgia and LSU. I mean, that's really the game. Georgia beats LSU. Utah has no shot. Of course, Utah has to win this week against Oregon, but if Georgia loses, then I definitely agree with you. I think a lot of the college football playoff selection committee knows about Utah. And they know about how dominant they've played. And so those style points, the dominant victories that Utah's shown for the last 2 months consistently have certainly helped. I don't know in a championship game. I mean, yeah, it'd be great to have a dominant performance, but I think they'll look at those games differently. It'll be a good matchup against Oregon. So the problem right now is Baylor.
Oh,
because Baylor's
not Oklahoma.
No, Baylor's in the top 10. So if Oklahoma beats Baylor, they beat Oklahoma State, who is a top 15, top 25 team, and then they've now if they beat Baylor, so they've had some top 25 wins on their resume. They don't have a very good defense, but they've had some signature wins, and it'll be interesting to see how they weigh all of that out.
Yeah, Tom, you opened your mouth and made a noise with your mouth, and so that is the
It's
human
an indication
indicator that
you
you've
might
got to
be
say
saying
something.
something.
So what do you have going on
I got
over
2 things. I can't stop moving my legs.
He's nervous.
I'm agitated.
Are you nervous?
I'm agitated already.
Because he said Baylor might be the problem more than anything?
So ESPN came out with some idiotic playoff predictors.
They do that all the time, though.
And I don't know where they get these numbers from. Hold on, we have a poster that's just arrived.
Yeah, we do.
It's probably worth sharing as well.
Hold on, yeah, I think this is the we put Cardboard Kalani up. Our producer Jeremy's rolling in with a message from Cardboard Kalani. It's
pretty important, guys.
We wanted to get everybody involved in this thing. So
Is Kalani in here tonight?
Yeah, we didn't want to. So BYU making the case for Utah. They of course are. Move your giant head there, Scott. Yes, BYU was the best team that Utah has beat so far, unless you want to count that Arizona State. Do you have any arguments against it?
Can I move my head back?
No, yeah, your head can go back.
Washington was a much better win for Utah.
Yeah, the old 7-5 Huskies.
Nah, but it was up there in Husky Stadium, a place Utah has only won once.
I get it.
You know,
here's another one that I've loved. So you have the playoff predictor that you saw. I think I saw the same one. It has Oklahoma straight up in it today, right?
It has Oklahoma at like 30-something% to make the playoffs. Utah's in the single digits.
They were 10 last week. See, this is what's arbitrary to me. We're doing this ranking deal, and we're going to see the college football playoff rankings come out. And last week I think Utah had a 10% chance of making the college football playoff. And now it's going to be interesting to see how they roll out, what the explanation is going to be. What all these ESPN guys are going to have to do is basically explain how all of these teams up to the top 7 basically are going to be able to possibly be in because they want to draw interest from as many people as possible right now over the next week or so until next Sunday when they actually roll all this out after the conference championships, and then we'll know, right? And then of course we will quote unquote know exactly. But I'm telling you, I'm interested to see what the message was. 2 weeks ago it was about how amazing Utah is, and I bet you're going to see them already sandbagging the possibility that Utah might not make it.
No.
Yes, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And here's
why. You want
why.
that to happen.
I'm not saying I want you. I told you. I don't want, quote unquote, want that to happen. What I'm saying is that there is a real argument against Utah. There's totally because they have
timing of loss has to come into it. Bottom line. Utah lost 2 months ago. They've blown everybody out. Their average margin of win is 18 points. Oklahoma lost to Kansas State like 3 weeks ago.
Here's what's so ridiculous about all this is it's just a subjective argument. We sit here and go, the best thing that happened was Alabama losing and not being in the college football playoffs. Because now they're going to be the Wisconsin. They're going to be the whiner and complainer. I mean, they already started complaining about how Auburn cheated
Right.
a victory, and so they're going to be out, and they're going to say, you know what, we need to expand this. We need to make sure that we're always going to get in.
They're showing a lot of B-roll. They're showing a lot of B-roll at the front end of this college football playoff.
And there's very little
show.
Utah in it.
There's like I can't tell because Utah wears the same outfits as Ohio State.
A lot of Georgia. Oh, there's a little bit of Oklahoma.
Do you call them outfits? Is that what you guys called them when you played in college, guys? Their outfits, right?
I don't know.
Okay, so here they are. They're in the war room. So we're watching them make this decision. It's subjective. Well, it's not subjective from you guys. Come on. It's not even. It's not objective at all for me. It's always going to be subjective. But the problem is that the committee prides themselves on being as down the middle as they can be when it comes to these rankings.
Like they're really acting like they.
That's what I'm asking. Is that if
actually,
you're an Oregon guy?
I actually have inside information, Alex.
What?
I do. I know what goes on, and I'm just telling you, I do.
We're already 4.5 minutes into this, and now
you're telling us
No, about what they do in the meeting. They go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. They go over
limited
statistics
on their time.
I know, but I'm just telling you, they look, every person on the committee cannot watch every game, so each conference has a selection. They have a voice, and that voice talks about all of everything that goes on in that school. So everyone knows and has a really good idea about Utah. Utah's not a mystery to anyone.
Okay, I just want to know. If you're Utah fans and there are people watching and they start to stream this and they wonder, or they watch this later and they go, this is totally rigged against a team like us, like Utah. Is that true? Because in the end, I've heard this about 100 times in the last few weeks too, and we've talked about it a ton on Unrivaled, Scott, and that is they are making the most sellable product. If we're talking about making the best, if this is a decision that's basically being made by TV executives, this is Utah's going to be. I know, but that's what I'm saying. Is that why would Utah be a part of that? Why wouldn't they find Oklahoma a way in? And the plausible way of getting Oklahoma in is making sure Utah goes out by mentioning by this Baylor move up from last week, and they called it like some sort of a football market correction, as if it's the Dow, but The reality is, I'm interested to see as we're watching some of these Utah highlights, is it enough right now? They're at 6 right now. They'll likely move up to 5. The question is, does somebody else, is there a dark horse in this? And you've said Baylor, Scott. Oklahoma is obviously, I think, some sort of a national choice for everybody else, it seems like.
You know what is just as important as Utah's ranking today? Oregon's.
Oh, now that's interesting to see where they might be after a 2-touchdown win over.
After this week.
It really is.
So if they go up to
They'll move up a spot.
They'll go up one spot.
Well, actually, they'll go down. They're going to go down.
Throw them a bone. So we're being told that Tom isn't loud enough because I really hear him yelling at me quite a bit.
No, they've just come out. Look, they're coming out right now.
Okay, so here we are. Number 25 is Oklahoma State. Navy's 24. Virginia, Bronco and his team are into the college football playoff rankings at 23.
USC's 22.
SC stayed flat at 22. App State up 4 spots to 21. And that's just a conspiracy to try to get Appalachian State into this thing.
We're behind. Twitter's advanced.
Oh, okay. So here we are. Okay, so what do we have right now already? No, this is
Oregon's 13. They only moved up 1 spot. That's not good.
Okay, so
That's
Oregon going up to 13 on this.
Let's watch this.
And watching how this thing rolls out. Let's see exactly how this thing plays out. Because going up 1. All of these, the only ones that matter on this
Minnesota went down 10 spots.
Minnesota lost that second one. Everybody was waiting for that.
Timing of loss. It means something.
It does mean something. So as we're watching here, Auburn is at 11. Alabama has been the one moved down to 12, according to Twitter. Oregon at 13. Michigan 14. How did Michigan only go down 1 spot after the loss to Ohio State? You lose by 74 points.
They went down 1 spot. You got it.
Okay.
Oregon's up 1.
Oregon is up 1. That's a pretty. That's a good sign for Utah. But you mentioned. So where would you be comfortable? Is it? You said it's not good to only go up 1, but you beat the 13th team in the country by 3 or 4 touchdowns, like they've been doing the last few weeks. That's going to mean something more than beating a Baylor team that I don't think has been that great this year. So where are we at here? We're still waiting for the. Look at Tom. Tom's already disappointed. The look of disappointment.
Well, I just
Well, it
know
just-
they're setting us up for failure, and it's absolute bull dust.
I don't know. This is going to get interesting.
I said it last week when
10
Baylor
through-
was top
wait,
10. I
10
said
through
they're setting
5?
us up.
Is that next?
Here it is. So here's
Uh-oh.
number 10 is Penn State.
State.
So there's Penn State at number 10.
9 is Baylor. I'll bet.
Scott's going to bet on number 9 being Baylor.
Well, no, I thought they were
Not
up last
moving.
week.
They were, but they were up to
Florida.
Oh no.
I'm telling you,
no.
they're setting us up.
Number 9 is Florida. They've moved up 2 spots, but nowhere to
You're
be
gonna have-
seen
you're gonna have
is
8.
Baylor.
Oh.
I said it last week.
I brought the
said it last
popcorn.
week. That's all I'm saying.
I've been
I
eating
brought the popcorn for a
been
reason.
eating the
I brought the
popcorn.
popcorn for a reason.
Don't look at Twitter, okay?
Okay. So, oh boy.
This is
Wait,
horrible!
Oh, no way! 4 spots, Wisconsin?
Well,
You
hold on.
gotta be kidding
I'm
me.
telling
That's
you,
a joke.
this is
Oh,
Hold on.
my goodness.
Let me get some. I knew some of
a
this.
lot for
my
me to not
goodness.
swear right now.
Oh, my.
I knew some of this desk popcorn was going to come in handy.
So Baylor's 7
Wow.
or up. That's
Watching
what
you
we're
guys.
hearing.
So Baylor's probably going to be 7.
How do teams with 2
Baylor-
losses
Baylor
go
has
ahead
to
of
be
Alabama,
7.
though? Seriously.
I'm
how
telling you, Utah's not making it.
Mm.
They can't make it. What if Baylor beats Oklahoma?
Then it goes into what we call the Scott situation. What did you call that? What was it going to happen?
What's
If
that?
Baylor beats, because now Baylor's
Baylor's
at 7,
7.
and you're going to have
Baylor can't jump
okay.
2.
Does Utah stay at 6? Does Utah stay
That's what
at
I mean.
6?
They could-
And they've already had it.
Oklahoma could jump them tonight. That's
And they've already
You're
had-
cheating.
No, I'm okay. I'll look at it. I'll look at it at the same time you do.
can't
but I'm
open
just,
the Christmas
Here
presents
it is.
on-
Okay, now they're gonna go back to the talking heads. Now Scott calls this with all these guys who are breaking it down. I guess we're no better and no different, but he calls it polished bullcrap from these guys, from your Joey Galloways, from The Bachelor, Jesse Palmer.
Well, they are. Look at they're just nice and pretty, and they don't say anything intelligent.
Hey, they had nice jawlines.
Here's my favorite part.
They
is
do
that
have nice
I don't
jawlines.
hear what Jesse Palmer's saying. He's moving his hands a lot. But if he was saying, and I'm telling you, Utah's amazing. Scott goes, I've always liked Jesse Palmer. I think he's been a good guy. He's been
He's
nice.
my favorite
He looks
bachelor.
good moving his hands.
So as you start to look and see this setup already, and you guys and Utah conspiracy theorists are already out there going, this is a joke.
I called it
This
last
is a
week. I
setup.
called it.
this
I'm
is
This is a
telling
joke.
you.
This is a
This is
setup. Hold on,
bad.
I'm looking back here. Okay,
No,
so
quit
I'm
it.
not, I don't want to treat.
Quit
Okay,
it.
you're right.
You
You can't help
can't-
Not gonna
yourself.
cheat.
Yeah.
Not
You
gonna cheat.
cannot help yourself.
I think, let's go to Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, what do you have to say? I got a lot of helmets behind me, but none of them are from Utah. Back to you. That's what this has become. When we go back, you got to
He's
have.
just sitting there in
you gotta have
silence. He's
Kirk,
not
you
even
gotta have
saying
Kirk,
anything.
Kirk Herbstreit. What do you think, Kirk? Yeah,
Hey,
I mean,
Kirk's
Yeah.
going to be out at Levi's this Friday night. He's
He
going to
is.
see the Utes firsthand.
all right.
Yeah, but
and then what? He's not
he
on the
doesn't have
committee.
a vote.
So let
He
me ask
doesn't
you this:
matter.
put on your tinfoil hats and let's talk about conspiracy theories for just 1 second.
Well, it's not rocket science.
No, I just want to know this. In the top 4 currently, any of these teams are not a Nike team? Are any of them not Nike teams?
Utah.
That's what I'm saying right now. Oh my! Okay, hold on.
I don't want.
I'm not gonna watch it. But here's what I'm saying.
Come on, Kurt, get over it. Let's go.
Phil Knight could get to Mullins, right, the Oregon guy, and say, "Listen, bro, I don't
think
want to see
Mullins only
I don't
has
want to see an
Phillips
Under
on.
Armour team in this whole
Yeah,
decision.
you need, if you're from the Pac-12, you got to cheer for Utah. You just do.
Not if there's some donation money. Here we
Oh
go.
my goodness.
Here we go. We start with number 1.
Oh,
No, we don't.
6.
Oklahoma.
Oh,
6.
my goodness.
Okay.
They still like Utah. They
Okay.
do.
They don't
still,
hate Utah.
They still like Utah. I'm just telling you, they like Utah. Come on.
No, they don't.
Yes,
all
they
they're
do.
doing
With
is
Baylor,
all they're
with
doing.
where they put Baylor and where they put Oregon,
Hold
they
on.
don't like Utah.
Here's what they're doing. This is your moment because you're not going to have it next week. Here's the problem if you're a Utah fan. You're at 5 now because your moment is next week. That's when your moment
No,
is
no,
this
no.
week.
You know,
Oklahoma's
nope.
going to
Burn
leapfrog
it
you.
down.
You're
No.
going to
Burn the whole thing down.
Oklahoma beats the number 7. Is that what Baylor was? Is 7 or they're 7,
They're
right?
7. 6 beats
6
7.
v 7, the winner goes through.
No,
And
no,
what
no.
was Oregon?
Here's what they're doing.
Oregon was 19th. I can't even remember already
Time
because
out.
they're that
Oregon
bad.
was 13th.
Okay, Oregon's 4. Georgia's 4.
We know-
Clemson's 3.
we don't care.
You know what the rest
We-
is?
we-
Well, last week we saw movement.
It's going to be LSU 2, Ohio State 1. That's what it'll be.
Why? How did LSU get leapfrogged last week? By
Because Ohio State has a better defense.
Well, they beat Penn State as well.
Yeah, and they have a
LSU
better
played
defense.
Okay.
They play
someone no-name.
garbage.
What is-
What were you
Texas
about to say?
Sorry, you're gonna
Okay,
say something.
so here's what's happening. and this is a real thing.
LSU at 2, by the way.
Yeah, this is a real thing.
Ohio State number 1.
What they're saying is, if we leave Oklahoma and Baylor back, we're saying we like Utah better than Oklahoma, and we like them better than Baylor. We think they're a better team. That's what they're saying here. Okay, they're saying that Alabama
the pack
was
is
a
back.
So
Get out of
So
here.
they've had there's a graphic up that is by the way complimentary of Utah, and somehow fans like. I'm telling you. So this is how people are reacting right now. They're like, you don't believe that? You're a bunch of garbage because the Pac-12. This is the best team. This isn't just the best ranking they've had since 2016. This is the best team they've had since that
So how do you
Washington
keep
team.
interest across the country?
You keep everybody in it.
You keep everybody in it. Every conference right now is in it.
Until next week.
When
you've got to have
I'm just telling
the
you,
real guys in the race.
See
and it's going to be Oklahoma.
through them.
No, Utah wins, and they're in.
No,
I mean, look at it.
What?
Look,
I disagree.
Okay.
look what happened. They just all went up one spot. I'm just telling you, they're just going to keep everyone interested.
Okay.
If Utah loses, they're out. They're obviously.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you.
Captain Obvious.
Here's what the deal is.
No.
Here's what the real
but
deal is.
if they win, I'm just telling you, if they win.
What's the margin of victory got to be? It needs to be a lot.
I don't believe that it does.
I do.
I don't.
Here's the deal.
I do.
Look,
If Oklahoma, which they will, Jalen Hurts is going to show up in that game. Oklahoma is going to win.
Baylor.
Oklahoma is going to win. It's going to be like a 42-17 kind of game. And if Utah doesn't show up in similar fashion, then you've got problems. And you have
If Utah has a blowout win, no question they're in.
If
Baylor wins, Utah's in.
Okay, that was what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
If Baylor wins,
Utah's in.
You think?
Yes.
No, yeah.
Who? They
What
don't,
if Baylor blow out Oklahoma? Utah barely scrapes by Oregon.
They do not want Baylor in
You're making the argument for me. There are more ways for Utah to be eliminated
Yeah,
than there are for them to get in.
No. Georgia loses and Utah wins. That's how they're in.
No matter what the circumstances,
No matter
margins
what
of victory,
happened.
nothing.
No.
See, now listen, and as we're watching it too, as we're streaming this thing, the thing that's really happening in all this, you use that popcorn good over there, Scotty? You okay? Everything good? Just right into the mic would be great.
What are we supposed to do with it? Not eat it?
No, it's fine.
The popcorn's not going to eat itself, Kirry.
That was made 7 weeks ago. That was made
Mm.
7 weeks ago No, I'm just kidding. So here's what I wanted to say though about this Utah team. See, now they're showing some B-roll of Utah, but they haven't talked that much about, and they've put them up to an 11% chance of getting in.
Oh, yeah.
And now what I want to see is where that number 6 Oklahoma team is, because if they put them, I don't know where these numbers come from. If
It's
this is something
a bunch of nonsense.
the quality
what
wins
it
for
is.
Utah. Are you ready for this? Arizona State and at Washington. Those are your quality wins.
Well, they're wrong because it's BYU.
Go Kalani. Let's go. Hey.
If BYU to beat San Diego State,
Now, I just want to
that'd
know.
be an 8-win team.
There are a lot of reasons, and you're seeing them on here. There are a lot of reasons for them to back somebody else in. And the biggest reason is going to be, and you don't have an argument if you're undefeated, but now with that one loss, I'm telling you, they have all the reason in the world to make an argument for another one-loss team versus another one-loss team in any direction. They don't care. They will put anybody in. They will put anybody
You go
in.
undefeated in 04, they shaft you. You go undefeated in 08, you shaft you. You go to a Power 5 conference and lose one game all year to a top 25 team. And now shaft you. I'm telling you, burn the whole thing down. 4 teams ain't going to work. Can you imagine, first of all, if Georgia beats LSU, two
look at that screen.
SEC.
Look at that screen. This is
FPI
great.
ranking 11 for Utah, 8, Oklahoma 15. Strength of schedule 54,
Yeah.
41, 58.
So Utah's got the worst, or they've got Oklahoma has a superior strength of schedule. That's going to work into it, right? See, but here's the problem with Baylor and
Oklahoma's
here's the
defense
problem.
is terrible.
Baylor right now they're showing highlights against Kansas for them. So
Can we just talk about, we can get frustrated and angry at the committee, and
I'm
that's
not
all
fru-
fair
I'm not-
and dandy.
I'm not frustrated.
I'm boiling.
Why?
And
Utah's 5.
I think it's hilarious.
We need to be really, really upset with Oregon. What were they doing against Arizona State?
This is my favorite.
Seriously.
Favorite. I know. But again, when you're
Okay,
waiting on, you're
wait just
saying
a
that.
second.
That's
Hang on.
the thing where you get upset.
Here's what
Somebody
you-
else losing a bad game. How about
Look.
the part where you lost to USC in an awful game.
Oh, sorry. 2 months ago.
Yelling into the mic.
Wait just a second.
Fine.
You can't hate on Oregon.
Why?
Oregon beat USC. Oregon beat Arizona State a year ago.
Yes, preach.
And so Oregon, and I've already talked to the Oregon people.
Haven't you talked to Scotty?
Well, no,
I've already talked to the Oregon. What is this? Fire up the Cosa Nostra music. I've already talked to my people in Oregon. I've got some inside information.
Here's what you're going to do. You're going to lose the Pac-12 championship game. And you're going to lose ugly.
And they're going to say, and you're going to walk through that line and say, and Coach Whittingham's going to go over to Mario Cristobal and go, "Thank you so much. You guys have been very gracious this year in your cruddy
then
losses."
He's going to say, and our present to you is the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
If I'm Kyle Whittingham, I go up to
There you go.
Mario and say, I just made X amount of dollars making it to this game. I will forfeit the entirety of however many dollars that may be and give to you if you let us blow you out. Done. Sold.
Sorry,
It's
I'm just
not
being,
rocket science.
Sorry, I'm just being Kirk Herbstreit right now. Sorry. Yeah. I mean, Utah's got an amazing resume. I think this Utah team is legitimate.
We're not Michigan. We have bagmen. We have people in our pocket.
You guys
so
cheat?
come on.
You guys cheat like everybody else?
Let's get like everyone
All right,
else.
so we'll power
By
down.
the way, I'm kidding about that.
No, they don't cheat.
We're not-
We will power down the Facebook Live here, and you can go back and watch the reaction. I think a lot of people are reacting the same way Tom does. Scott's trying to be more reasonable because he's a silver lining. You couldn't go the whole broadcast without checking your phone. Come on.
My wife's texting me about my rugs, all right? I see through the nonsense, college football, I'm out.
Hey, millennials. Tune in next time for our overreaction to the college football playoff rankings. And by this time next week, you'll know. Next Sunday, you'll know where you're at and what bowl game you're in. And so for Scott, for Tom, I'm Alex. We'll be on tonight on KSL's Unrivaled, yelling about very similar things, only with much cooler heads. So thanks for our support team as well. Madison's in here, Hunter's in here, Jeremy's in here. Nate even showed up. Good for you, buddy.
Nate, who's
no,
that?
what? No, it's great. You did it. All right, we'll see you next time, everybody. Eat that food, man.
Oh, wait.